Mama Ebuka had a secret. The night before, she carefully collected discarded poo and water from dead bodies, using them for her special recipe the next day. But don't tell anyone, that's just between us. I'm only sharing this because you said in school, otherwise I wouldn't have told you. I don't want anyone else getting in on it. Elizabeth bought Mama Ebuka's food and took it back to class. As she took her first bite, she couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, this is so delicious." Her classmates, curious, reached out, begging for a taste. She shared a bit and immediately they were hooked. "This is amazing," they said, rushing out of the classroom to buy more. Soon, word had spread. The entire class was lined up to get a taste of Mama Ebuka's irresistible food. At City Girls High School, a prestigious boarding school for girls, there was a woman named Mama Ebuka, affectionately called Mama Put by the students. Every day, she sat under a mango tree, carefully arranging hot pots of rice, beans, soup, and even plantain to serve to the students. But despite her efforts, hardly anyone ever bought her food. Most students preferred the crunchy biscuits and sugary snacks from the school shop. Mama Ebuka couldn't understand why her food was being ignored. It wasn't bad food, far from it, but the students passed by with barely a glance, only stopping if hunger became too much to bear. Even then, they bought very little, waiting instead for the school dinner bell to ring. At the end of the day, Mama Ebuka was left with food that was spoiled by the next day. She was becoming frustrated and desperate. One afternoon, after another slow day, Mama Ebuka decided to seek help. "Don't tell anyone," Mama Ebuka said in a whisper, "but I have learned something that could change everything. Tomorrow, I will show you how to make the food irresistible." She carefully explained her secret. Before long, the entire class was crowding around Mama Ebuka's food stand under the mango tree. The once ignored food was now the talk of the school, with students lining up every day to buy food from her. Mama Ebuka's business had finally taken off, and she smiled quietly to herself. But remember, this story isn't just about food. It's a lesson in how you must never let your children eat just anything. Sometimes what's served matters more than what's on the plate. One cool evening at 6 p.m., Mama Ebuka walked down the street to visit a famous food seller known for her delicious meal. People loved her food so much that they gathered around her stall, waiting for her taste. Mama Ebuka hoped she could learn something from her. When Mama Ebuka arrived, she greeted the food seller and shared her concern. "The students at my school never buy my food," she said. "They always go for snacks instead. How do you make your food so popular?" Mama Uche listened carefully. She seemed calm at first, but then her face became serious. She looked around to make sure no one was listening and whispered to Mama Ebuka, "This isn't something we can talk about here. Come to my house at 10 p.m. tonight. I will tell you." Mama Ebuka was curious but also nervous. What could this secret be? As she walked home, her mind was full of questions. She kept checking the time, growing more anxious at nightfall. At 9:50 p.m., she got ready and left for Mama Uche's house. When she arrived, Mama Uche looked at her with a serious expression. Are you ready for this? She asked. Mama Ebuka, eager to learn, nodded. I need to know how to make my food popular. Mama Uche led her to the backyard where a small kitchen stood. The air smelled terrible, like something rotten. There were dirty pots filled with strange stains and large drums of water. Mama Ebuka was shocked and covered her nose. This is my real kitchen, Mama Uche said with a smile. Mama Ebuka was confused. I thought your kitchen was the one near your store, she asked. Mama Uche nodded. That's the kitchen people says. This is where I get my secret ingredients. Mama Ebuka was curious but uneasy. What do you mean, secret ingredients? She asked. Mama Uche smiled strangely and pointed to the drums. That water comes from cemetery. It's what I call dead body water. And those pots, she said, pointing to the dirty pots, contains poo. These are my special ingredients. Mama Ebuka grasps, horrified. What? Are you serious? Mama Uche nodded. This is how I make my food irresistible to everyone. But you must promise you can never tell anyone this secret. Mama Ebuka stood in shock, unsure of what to think. Mama Uche looked at Mama Ebuka and explained her secret. Whenever I need to use the toilet, I just do it here, she said, pointing to the pot. I mixed a little of it with dead water body from the cemetery, add some special incantations, and that's how I make my food irresistible. She smiled slightly, as if proud of her secret recipe. Mama Ebuka was in shock. Could she really do this to make her business successful? After thinking it over, she decided to try it. Alright, I will give it a try, she said, feeling uneasy but determined. The next day, Mama Ebuka carefully followed Mama Uche's instructions. She collected the poo and the dead body water, added a small amount of poo to the food to avoid a bad smell, and used the dead body water to cook. She whispered incantations as Mama Uche had taught her. When she finished, she packed the food and headed to the school. Under the mango tree, Mama Ebuka waited for break time. When the bell rang, she was nervous. Only one student, Elizabeth, came to buy the food. Elizabeth tasted it and immediately exclaimed, Wow, this is so delicious. Her classmates, hearing her, begged for her for a taste. They all loved it, rushed to buy more, and soon the whole class was lined up for Mama Ebuka's food. Word spread quickly, and before long, even the teachers were coming to buy. But within a week, something strange started happening. More and more students were complaining of stomach pains, vomiting, and feeling weak. They were sent to the school clinic, but no one suspected Mama Ebuka's. Parents were worried and began blaming the school for not providing clean water and food. One of the students who buys Mama Ebuka's food, Elizabeth, became so sick that she had to leave the school for hospital treatment. The principal became furious and ordered the school staff to ensure they provide clean food and water. Meanwhile, Mama Ebuka's business was booming. She realized she couldn't get enough poo on her own, so she found an abandoned building where students secretly went to relieve themselves. Mama Ebuka started collecting the poo there to continue cooking. More students fell ill, but Mama Ebuka didn't care. She was making money and that's what all that mattered to her. Meanwhile, the parent of the sick student grew more concerned. Mrs. Femi decided to take action. She called the school cook to her office and demanded to know what was wrong with the food. The cook, trembling, explained that they were only cooking what the school provided. But Mrs. Femi was furious. "You are all fired," she shouted. "Pack your things and leave today." One cook Anna begged, "Please, don't fire me. I have two children to take care of. This is my only job." But Mrs. Femi didn't listen. She was determined to fix the problem. After firing the cooks, Mrs. Femi issued a strict order. From now on, no student is allowed to call their parents about any problem, she said. "If we have an issue, we will handle it here at the school. Anyone who lets a student call home will be punished." The staff agreed, knowing they had no choice. As Mama Ebuka's business continued to strive, the situation at the school only got worse. But Mama Ebuka remained focused on her growing profits, unaware of the consequences of her actions. Mama Ebuka smiled to herself under the mango tree, watching the students line up for her food. Her business was thriving and no one suspected the thing. The next day, the new cooks were hired to replace those who had been fired. That morning, Mama Ebuka's daughter Gloria visited from university. She was surprised to see so many students waiting for her mother's food. "Mama, you are doing so well," she said, proud of her mother. But when Gloria tried to take a bite, Mama Ebuka suddenly knocked the plate from her hand. "Oh, Mama, why did you do that?" Gloria asked, confused. Mama Ebuka quickly apologized and whispered, "Don't eat this food." Gloria froze, but understood from her mother's serious look that she should stay quiet. She stepped aside, puzzled. At the back of the line, two SS3 students, Faith and Hope, noticed the strange interaction. "Did you see that?" Faith whispered. "Why wouldn't she let her own daughter eat?" Hope agreed it was odd and suggested they find out the truth behind the food. The girls decided to follow Mama Ebuka. As she left the school, they hid behind walls to avoid being seen. They followed her to an unfinished building where they saw her scoop pour into a cooler. Shocked, Hope whispered, "What is she doing?" Faith was equally disturbed but determined to find out more. Mama Ebuka covered the cooler and headed for the school gate. Faith and Hope were blocked by the gate security but quickly decided to follow the fence. They changed clothes to avoid being recognized, then climbed the fence and continued following her from a distance. They kept low and carefully closed the distance as Mama Ebuka moved further away. The girls were more determined than ever to uncover the secret behind her food. Mama Ebuka walked straight to her house with the cooler of poo and dropped it near the back door. Faith insisted they stay until the next day to uncover the truth. Hope worried about the risk, but Faith was determined to expose Mama Ebuka for their friends' sake. They found a spot in a nearby store to rest until morning. Meanwhile, back at the school, the hostel mistress noticed Faith and Hope were missing during the night bed check. She suspected they had left the school and wrote their names on the blacklist, planning to report them the next day. The next morning, Faith and Hope woke up early to observe Mama Ebuka. They hid behind a corner as she opened the cooler, releasing a foul smell. Faith quietly recording with her phone, watched as Mama Ebuka scooped poo into a bowl, added water from a drum and mixed it together. Whispered in shock, realizing this was the secret ingredient for her food. Faith filmed everything while they remained hidden, careful not to make a sound. After getting enough evidence, they sneaked back into the school just before the morning assembly began. They were tired but knew they had to act quickly. Faith and Hope, caught sneaking out of the school, nervously stood before Mrs. Femi at the assembly. Faith secretly carried evidence, her phone, with a video of Mama Ebuka's disgusting food preparation. After some hesitation, she showed the video to the principal, exposing Mama Ebuka's use of poo and dead body water in her cooking. Shocked, Mrs. Femi ordered Mama Ebuka to be detained. Security caught her trying to flee and the staff witnessed the horrifying kitchen behind her store. Mama Ebuka was arrested and Faith and Hope were praised for their bravery. Mrs. Femi decided not to punish them but rewarded them with money for saving the school. The news spread and Faith's parents proudly acknowledged her bravery, restoring her confidence. Meanwhile, Mama Ebuka remained silent and Mama Uche continued her business unnoticed. This story serves as a reminder to always be cautious of what you eat. Thanks for watching. Kindly give this video a thumbs up and please don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. Until then, remain blessed and bye bye.